Welcome to Crime Besties to another episode. We just were saying it's episode 68.
Yep.
Which is a bit of a lonely number these days.
68 at the moment,
After, should we say it?
God, last week trying to do the edit and everything for this and typing up the episode number was like literally ringing in my ears. 67.
Oh, for God's sake.
Fuck.
And then next week's obviously 69.
Which we have to giggle over.
Yeah. So poor old episode 68, but here we are. We've got to get through it. So so there you go.
We'll give you some respect, 68.
Yeah. We're throwing a good one at you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's a nice meaty one for you.
Absolutely.
Last night we went to a true crime event.
We did.
We went to, we saw Andrew Rule and John Sylvester speak.
Yep.
They were good. They were really good. John Sylvester tells a very funny story.
He's good. He's got
such a dry sense of humour. He's very, very funny.
Yeah.
And Andrew Rule, like, you know, he's fantastic too. But
yeah.
They were selling their books at the last night, and my mum's like, "Oh, I want to go up and buy a book," and I was like, "Well, I'll come up and take a photo of you with them because she's such a fangirl."
She's freaking hilarious.
Oh, anyway, so we go up there. She goes up. Bought Andrew Rule's new book, Life and Crimes, same name as his podcast, and gets behind there for a photo and she goes, "Did you know my daughter? She does a podcast." I'm like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Mum,
God,
he does not give a shit." Oh, it was so embarrassing. I'm like, oh, God.
Lynn would have loved it.
Oh, like they give a crap about that.
I loved it though. At the end, one of the audience members would have put in questions and said, you know, have you ever had anyone that you know in the audience, like from your stories that you tell? And I was like, oh, yeah, sitting right here, Ron Iddles. It's Emma's dad, who's literally spitting image of Ron Iddles.
Even though he's like, "Oh, no, I don't see it."
Don't see
I'm
it.
like, oh, come on.
He really...
The only difference is Ron Iddles has blue eyes and Dad has brown eyes.
You can't tell
You
that
can't
from
even
distance.
tell. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Nah, they literally could be twins.
I know.
Only has to be 10% true, Russell, too.
That's right. It's more than 10% true, Dad. Trust us. But last night, Mum and Dad shouted us the tickets to this as their unofficial Patreon. So I think we probably should shout them out. I don't know. So Lynn and Russ, thank you very much for shouting us the tickets. That was lovely.
Great.
We had a lovely night. School night, though.
Oh, yeah, we need to be home at reasonable hour.
At least it didn't go too late.
No, it was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, so that was all right. But, yeah, it was very interesting. They talked a bit about the mushroom case, which I found, you know, there were a couple of things that, you know, he sort of touched on that I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It sort of already had kind of escaped my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, you know, at the minute, I think he said they were going to court today, the appellate court.
Was it today for that one? Because there was another one that's today, which is the missing campers.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Greg Lynn. And so his appeal is being
heard today.
Well, it's not being, the appeal itself isn't being heard. I think it's just basically they're hearing as in, like, will they listen to the appeal?
Sure.
Like, it's basically this.
Like, it's just a mention or a hearing
steps
today.
in this. So, it's basically there's the decision as to whether or not the appeal is upstanding enough to warrant a full hearing.
Yeah, okay.
So, it'll be interesting to see what comes of that because, oh, God.
You and I
spoke about it.
Yeah, we've spoken about it. I mean, obviously, we've done the case on it too, if you guys want to go back and have a listen to that if you haven't already.
Yeah, and unfortunately, John Sylvester kind of agreed with our take on things. Yeah. I was hoping to hear something from him last night to kind of go,
he knows something more and it'll be fine. But I think we said it in the episode, and like obviously he was Greg Lynn was convicted of one murder and sort of not of the other.
He's got away with one. Will he get away with another?
Yeah. Even even John Sylvester was like, well, he's guilty as all hell.
Yes.
Like he told a story about somebody he knew who had known him 20 odd years ago, and you know there were some very questionable.
The behaviours
back
odd.
then, very odd. So, you know, oh God, it would worry me if he were back out in society.
Absolutely, totally. Yeah. And the thing is, I honestly don't think anyone questions that he did it. It's just basically now legal jargon as to whether or not you can convict him on it. And that's what's so frustrating about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the other thing they told us is that Greg Lynn's lawyer, Desmond...
Dermot Dunn.
Dermot Dunn, thank you. Why did it was a D name. He is obviously Greg Lynn's lawyer and he's amazing, but Erin Patterson has just hired him for her appeal process. She's fired her attorneys, her barristers, and she's now hired him, and he is, as Andrew Rule said yesterday, if you get done for murder, he's the one you want in your corner. Yep. So, and they're like, he's sort of Supreme Court justice material. Like he's amazing.
Yes.
Knows the law inside out and back to front and how to work it, I guess, both ways.
Work it in his favour of
absolutely.
undefending.
And he's doing it within the confines of the law.
This is it. Yeah, and we'll get into a bit of that today, I guess, too, with the case we're doing today. But
100%.
Yeah, I mean, the legal system isn't perfect in that way, that there are ways of like someone who is guilty getting, if things aren't done in a neat, tidy bow, there are ways that the legal system can be rorted, so.
It's terrifying, actually.
Yeah.
You know, when you think, okay, it's done and dusted and okay, maybe because he didn't get convicted of the two, fine, at least he's in prison.
Yes.
You know, at least he's not out in society.
What label is on that? That doesn't kind of matter as long as he's in there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. So anyway, we'll watch this space and see what comes of the hearing today.
Yeah.
Just sort of on a bit of a different tack. I don't think you and I have even really discussed this face to face yet.
Right.
We hit 200,000 downloads this week.
We did.
Go us. I remember at the start of the year we were like, I reckon we'll hit 100,000 this year.
I remember us both sort of going, oh my gosh, we could make 50. And then I think it was Peter went, no, you work it out mathematically. Like, 100,000 we could get to this, this year.
Yeah.
And, okay, well, we doubled that even.
It's October and we've hit over 200,000 now. So to each and every single one of you who has listened to an episode, downloaded an episode, liked, commented and everything, thank you.
Oh,
we actually, this blows my mind.
It completely does.
And when I see the amount of episodes that people are listening to each week, I'm like blown away.
We've been hitting like 10,000 a week.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
God, that's scary.
It's scary. It's scary.
But people are clearly liking it. I mean, there's the odd person that doesn't, which we were talking about last night.
Oh my God. What was the comment that person made?
I pity the person who finds this interesting.
That's right. I love it. I pity the person. Yeah, so sorry, everyone.
Okay, that's good for you.
But just move on. Why do you feel the need to comment?
That was after a very lengthy bashing of it.
Yeah. It was a really long comment.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But it was surrounded by really lovely ones.
It was actually like above it was like my fave podcast, and like below it was like, yes, this is the best. And there's this one in the middle, like, pity the person that finds this interesting.
Oh, I love it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, any publicity is good publicity. We'll take it.
Literally helping us by commenting and rating us and reviewing us, even if it is bad.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
A few more shout-outs that I've got today. We have a new Patreon this week named Alessia E. Obviously, unofficially, Lynn and Russ. And then we had a really lovely Instagram DM from a man by the name of Tom McInnes. And then I also wanted to shout out last night, we're standing in the queue waiting to go into the event. And my dad tells me that ages ago, like months ago, I think, he was at one of his friend's daughter's houses. I think Dad was working there maybe. Her name is Ricky. And he's like, oh, yeah, she was listening to you. And they were talking about podcasts or something. And he said, oh, my daughter's got a podcast. And he said what it is. And she's like, oh, I listened to that already. So thank you, Ricky.
That's amazing. I love that.
I hope Dad did a good job at your place.
Yes.
Don't hold it against us. No. And then the other thing is today is Halloween. We are recording on the 31st of October. What are your kids dressing up as?
Look, it's not my job this year.
Oh, lucky are you.
Yeah, so I'm handballing that one off to their dad for this weekend. So I don't know.
I love it. So, yeah, exactly. So Oliver is dressing up as Peter Griffin from Family Guy, even though he has never seen a Family Guy episode ever.
What's made me think this?
Well, Peter Griffin, you can get that character on Fortnite.
Oh, okay,
and so he's just it's actually brilliant what he's doing. He's wearing his school shorts because he'll never wear pants. Fine, whatever. Yeah. An oversized white short sleeve shirt, and he's going to put a pillow up it because he's got a big tum.
Right.
As in Peter Griffin's got a big tum. His Harry Potter glasses.
Yep.
brown sneakers and a brown belt. I'm like, this is just brilliant. He's come up with this all on his own.
Oh,
just
I love
done it all on his
that.
own.
Because, if
Great.
you don't have to make
I
the
didn't have to
costume.
do anything, thankfully. And what's Lukey going as? I'll give you one guess.
Oh,
Do you need a hint?
yeah.
My Little Soda Pop.
Oh, Abs.
Yeah.
Abby.
He's going as Abby. And all I needed to source for that costume was a yellow beanie.
And a really tight shirt.
Well, you know what? I've got a size 7 Hawaiian shirt in the wardrobe.
Oh, the Hawaiian
The
shirt.
Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, our boys have matching Hawaiian shirts from back in a few years ago.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but I hadn't gotten rid of it, and it does just fit him. So I'm
Oh,
like, this
love
is
it.
perfection.
Oh, he's got to show
Denim
his abs
shorts.
popping
Of
out at the
course.
bottom.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not stupid.
I love that.
But
oh,
then
God, that's
I was
so
talking
cute.
to one of the teachers at school this morning, and he goes, oh, God, this weather, it's going to be on and off like this all day. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm just hoping for torrential rain about 5 p.m.
Yeah,
that makes
ideal.
trick-or-treating impossible. That would be
a
great.
non-starter.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like, won't they just want to do it tomorrow? I'm like, well, too late. It's over tomorrow.
That's
so no.
because my boys sort of said that to me as well. Like, if we can't do it Friday night, like we'll just do it like when we come back to you on Monday. And I'm like,
No.
I don't.
No one will-
No, people would have what they.
I literally put my decorations up yesterday. I've just got a few things at the door.
Yeah.
And I will be taking them down tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Like, that's it. It's
yeah,
done.
that's it. I mean,
We're not.
You can't sort of. I don't know, extend it.
No.
Like, it is a bit like, isn't it like,
It's a
like
day.
Christmas? It's like one day.
Yeah, it's a day. Well, Christmas bloody goes for months.
Oh, yeah, but like,
But I know what you mean.
Santa only comes once.
That's true. Yeah. It's a day. It's
Yeah.
a single day.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, anyway, and also I'm really happy for them not to have all those lollies and have all those lollies in the house. Although I do like taking my mum tax. And
Gotta have your
really,
mum tax.
Well, yeah, and I've got to take like the good stuff, like
Yeah.
a mini Snickers.
Oh, yeah, you're into a Snickers.
Love a mini. Oh, I freaking love a Snickers.
have all the Snickers.
You know what I've been loving lately, actually?
Oh, what?
And I'm not really a chocolate fan. Like
No.
I would prefer an ice cream.
Yeah,
Or
okay.
like a strawberries and cream lolly.
Yep.
You know, like
strawberries
the
and cream.
Allen's
Yep.
Allen's only, not
Right.
the bullshit anything else. It has to be Allen's fresh, soft strawberries and cream.
Yep.
Not a massive chocolate fan, but then I bought Cadbury Breakaway chocolate recently.
I've ever
Oh my
had
god,
that.
I'll give you some. I'll give you some when we finish recording.
What's
It
in
is-
that?
okay, think Kit Kat,
Yeah.
but with Cadbury chocolate.
Oh, because I like a Kit Kat.
Me too. Love a Kit Kat. This is like extra level. Although it's called Breakaway and it's really difficult to actually break away. But so up your.
Well, that'll really shit me because there's nothing worse like with a Kit Kat than people who eat them the wrong way.
Oh, I know. You know who eats them the wrong way?
Oh, Oliver would.
100%. Yeah.
Just know that he
Yeah.
would do that just to annoy the
Just
shit out of me.
exactly. He bites them.
Oh,
like
don't.
I know. He
No,
doesn't
you've got
snap
to
them.
snap
Nah,
them, and
nah.
then you've got to chew the end, and then the other end, and then you
Yes.
chew around the side.
Yes. No. He
Alright.
just eats it like it's a sandwich.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like just eats it whole
That's
as
so
well as-
wrong.
Yeah.
No, as my niece would say, and I nearly said my daughter, which same diff. That is a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
very
not right.
odd. It's very odd behaviour.
Yeah.
It's concerning. So where did that come from? Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Halloween lollies.
Yes.
Happy to take my mum tax of what I want out of there, but then like some of the shit they get. Like,
Oh, some of it's like full. I don't know. I don't even know what it is, and I don't want to know. Like
Yeah.
it's.
Do
I'm
you
not into
remember-
sweets.
do you-
I don't get it. I
do
don't
you
like
rem-
lollies.
Yeah, you're not a lolly person.
No.
Do you remember we went last year? And okay, my thought has always been that if you're giving a Halloween lolly, it needs to be individually, wrapped, right?
Only individually wrapped.
How
yeah.
many times last year did we come across lollies that weren't wrapped?
I feel like I might have blocked that entire event out, and I don't
Yeah.
remember, and
Yep.
for real good reason.
Yeah,
the
the chaos of it.
Oh,
Yep.
that was just
it's actually
insanity.
chaos does not even begin.
No.
Does not even begin. Yeah, but there was stuff that was unwrapped, so I feel like
I'm pretty
you
sure
really
I might
need
have
to
got
go.
rid of it if it was.
Oh,
wasn't.
100%.
I'm pretty sure
I
might
said
have.
that to the boys this morning. I'm like, don't eat anything until I've approved it. You just never know. I know it's sad,
look,
but you
it's-
just never know.
I don't know,
You
and
can't be
it's
too
also
careful.
Just germs in general.
That's
like of like
it.
people
Don't
putting their
touch
hands in a
it, 'cause-
bucket of
oh,
olives
like-
and handing it to you. I'm just not a bit. I'm not a germaphobe, but that kind of gives me a bit of the ick. Like,
Definitely. The other thing
Yeah.
is, I was reading some stats during the week about apparently 30% of men and 18% of women don't wash their hands after going to the toilet.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me when I live with boys. Like,
Yeah. Yuck.
I love it.
Lucas can't stand it. If
He
Brody
tells
doesn't
Brody
wash
off
his
all
hands.
the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love this. Please, Lucas. And now Brody's actually started coming home with like, and so-and-so didn't wash their hands in the bathroom. And I'm like,
yeah, because Lucas
thank
would
you,
be
Lucas.
all over it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I was actually in the toilet at work the other day, and like I could hear that the person in the stall next to me left and didn't wash their hands. I was like, that's a workplace. That is disgusting.
That's gross.
That's so yuck. I don't know who it was.
And in your
But
kind
massive-
of workplace too.
I know. I
Just
work
sort of-
in healthcare. Like, it's
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Like,
nah. I love that one of the
Bloody
girls at school, those pinned your son entirely of like, I bet his bedroom's neat and tidy, isn't
Oh,
it?
this was so funny.
That
So I
was
was doing
hilarious.
parent helper this week, and I was doing reading with this gorgeous girl, and we were reading a book about this naughty boy, and he did lots of naughty things, and like it all turned around in the end, and it was all fine. But his mum had told him, like, he'd trashed his room for some reason. His mum was like, you need to go and clean up your room. And she goes, so she's reading this, and she looks at me and she's like, Lucas has a neat room. She goes, does Lucas have a neat room? I'm like, yeah, he's pretty neat and tidy, actually. And she's like, I knew Lucas would have a neat room.
He
then-
comes across that
Yeah,
way for sure.
and then the kid had done something else naughty, and she goes, I know Lucas would never do that. Oh, it was so gorgeous. I love it.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, in her eyes anyway. I'm like,
yeah.
you should see him when he's on fire, dude. But, we all have our
But his room will still stay neat and tidy.
Yeah, that's right. Or if
Throw the tantrum and throw the toys, but he will pack them up afterwards.
100%. That is actually exactly, because he can't stand
No,
it.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. Should we get into today's case? Because we
We
don't want to be
should.
accused of
Oh,
drivel
no.
or of boring people to death before we actually get into the crime. So today we're talking about none other than Lawyer X, Nicola Gobbo. This case has fascinated me for so many years.
It's insane.
It's insane. I still remember
Yeah.
reading stuff about this before we knew that Lawyer X was Nicola Gobbo.
Yes, yeah. And like this is what in all of that, and I think when we get into this, there's so many people who knew it was her who were in this before it was named. She was named.
Yeah.
Like that I'm amazed it didn't come out sooner anyway, but it's insane how this all went down. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there were suppression orders sort of limiting her...
journalistically,
That's
but I mean,
right.
even
But do you mean just in the ether? Infiltrating
I mean,
around?
I guess I'm just not that close to Mick Gatto to know, like, get that intel. But
Surprisingly enough, Tony Mockbell isn't over for dinner every Wednesday night.
oh,
but,
well,
But yeah, look, and honestly, how she's survived, I am blown away by
this
that
is it.
too.
I'm so surprised she's alive.
Yeah.
But then that's what I think at the end of the day, I kind of question a lot of this. Like,
Yeah.
like who's giving the full story here? And
this is we've been obviously heavily researching this last week, and I think you're right. There's truth in there somewhere. There's embellishments in there everywhere,
Yeah.
and everyone's probably got an element of truth to their story, but we don't know what element of their story
No.
is the truth, and it's a jumbled mess. But I feel like, it's just a crazy, crazy story.
And what makes it like that so crazy is because we're talking about today, like, the Melbourne Underworld of like the 90s, early 2000s, which was an insane time in organised crime in this state.
Yeah.
And the thing is with people that were involved in this, they love to embellish a story and make themselves look big and look bad and look amazing,
Tough.
worse than someone else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't want people knowing what they did. And so it's like this, it's this real juxtaposition of like trying to work out like what is truth in all of that, of like what are they embellishing on and what are they hiding?
And why? What's the motivation?
What's the difference between the two? Of like,
Yeah.
why is it okay to say, oh yeah, I murdered that bloke and I did that to that person, I've done that before. But the true stuff then is the stuff they don't talk about.
Do you think they're sort of happy to be like, okay, yeah, I murdered Joe Bloggs over
Certain
there,
people.
certain people, because then if they were then charged for it, it couldn't be proven because they didn't actually do it. Maybe
This is it.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is and
are
what
they
their
that
motivation
smart?
is at times, or and it can be who they're talking to, or So
Yeah.
there's so much of fact that's lost. I think in
Yes.
all of that as well. So
Yes.
it's how to find it all in there is quite insane.
Yeah.
And I mean they all tell a different story. And I think that the part of that is to make sure that no one finds out the truth.
Yeah, there's so much mud. You know, how do you see the forest for the trees with all this stuff? It's
And then let alone the cops.
yeah. Well, that's another thing, isn't it? So we're not going to get into too much of the actual Underworld cases or anything today. We will absolutely, that is on the list. It's huge, though. We're probably going to need multi-parts to that one and a lot of time to research. So we'll fit that in somewhere. But
we'll mention names of people and some
definitely. But I feel like
cases,
this is actually probably a good thing to start with in terms of the Underworld stuff, because it does provide a lot of context to the cases and the people that we'll be talking about hopefully in future episodes.
For sure.
So, Nicola Marie Gobbo. Now, first of all, Marie, middle name. I feel like anyone born in the 70s to probably mid-80s, your middle name was either Marie or Louise.
Yeah, or Elizabeth.
Yeah. Sorry, what's your middle name?
Elizabeth.
What's my middle name? Marie.
You're Marie. You're Marie, yes. I don't know, so many bloody Louises.
I know. So, okay. Nicola Marie Gobbo was born on the 16th of November in 1972 in Melbourne. She actually grew up to her parents. Her dad was actually a first-generation immigrant, and her mum was Australian.
Yes.
Yeah. And they ended up, so Nicola is one of 5 children.
Yep.
Very sort of successful children, for the most part. But they grew up in a time where if you're the child of a first-generation Australian, there's a lot of expectation on you. Her mum and dad both worked very, very hard, and they put all of their children through private secondary schools or Catholic secondary schools. I think Nicola went to Genazzano.
Genazzano, yeah.
And her sister. And the pressure on them to do well, it was basically like if they didn't perform well academically, they were wasting their mum and dad's money. They were throwing their money down the drain.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of expectation. And I feel like this is probably a fairly common story to children of certainly first-generation immigrants.
Yeah.
And, that her parent, Nicola says that her parents just wanted the best for her and the best life for her and her siblings. And to them, financial stability and financial well-being was part of that, or a massive part of that, to be able to then have the life that they wanted them to have.
Yep.
So, and I think their dad, he worked very, very hard.
Yes.
In multiple jobs and all of that along their life. But Nicola says they grew up in a very ordinary, they weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination. They had what they needed, not necessarily what they wanted. And they were just a typical sort of suburban family.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. When Nicola was sort of deciding on a career, she said that she originally thought she wanted to be a doctor, but then there was a few things about that she was like, oh, maybe that's not for me, and so decided to go down the law path instead. I think part of that decision was because one of her uncles was actually a Supreme Court. Well, he was a QC at the time. And then he ended up becoming a Supreme Court justice, didn't he?
He did, because he actually rejected it at first when he was first offered it, and then went there later on in his career. But Sir James Gobbo, was her uncle, and he's very well respected in the law.
He was also the governor of Victoria for a time. Right. So, very well-known man and very well respected.
Yeah, the Gobbo name then had a bit of a, notoriety to it. And so even though she was his niece, she would kind of use the name to her advantage, and almost it wouldn't correct people if they said that was her dad, basically, from what I got.
What's wrong with a bit of nepotism?
Yeah.
So anyway, she's obviously decided to go down and pursue law. So did her sister.
Yeah.
And they were both very, very good at what they did, Nicola in particular. In fact, Nicola was one of the youngest women to be admitted into the bar at 26 years of age.
Yeah.
What an incredible achievement.
Yeah, I think it took her a couple of years after uni, and she was admitted into the bar.
I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that when she was doing her post-grad hours, she was mentored by a criminal lawyer who really did push her down that path and saw that she had something in her that he thought she would make an incredible barrister. And I guess, depending on who you ask, that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was really, really good at, well, certainly we'll get to this in more detail, but really good at bail applications and getting people out of bail, like really nitpicking.
That was really her like absolute best thing she could do. Yeah.
I did hear something about this was out of her mouth, where she basically said that because a lot of the briefs for a bail application, a bail hearing, the briefs from the prosecution were put together by police. She's like, well, they don't have law degrees. So I was able to be like, well, no, you can't say that. And it would be the tiniest little tiny thing that would mean that her clients would get bail when probably they shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
Yep.
So it was just very, very, very interesting. So she was, I guess let's call it up front, but she is an incredibly notorious lawyer and known as being a secret police informant.
Yeah.
And I guess this is the bit that kind of I was really interested in exploring when looking into this week, that the juxtaposition between the loyalty to her client and the privilege to her client and then the betrayal of them. Like it's so at odds with one another.
Yeah, this is what I find really fascinating. I mean, obviously we're talking again. It's like it's this underworld time in Melbourne here, where there was a lot of pressure on the police to, get this to stop. We were having, dead bodies turn up left, right, and centre, and shootings in really awful situations. For example, one of the Morans being killed
in front of his children
at Auskick. I mean, we're talking horrendous stuff that was going on in that time. That the police were, we need to stop this and really get, on top of it. And so they were like, we'll do anything to get a handle on this underworld war, the gangland war that was occurring. And then obviously then you've got on the other side of the fence the lawyers who are getting these guys out of jail every time the cops put them in there. That's a real... It's I can understand the struggle of that between the two, opposing situations. That there's a legal stance that lawyers then come in to do, and they make their money off of that.
That's it.
Which is a joke, but in some sense, that's not a joke, but it is like
no, I know what you mean. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and I hate that for the police who work their butts off to get the crook, and then they literally have to put their hands in the air and go, well, what else can I do now? Then I've handed him over to you, and now the legal system shoots him back out again. And it was this vicious cycle of these guys going, we finally nabbed one and here they are back on the street again doing it again. So, I mean, I can understand that from the police perspective of going, what can we do here to get a handle on this and start getting some crooks really locked up for good time. But they're legally allowed to have representation and good representation.
And that's a cornerstone of our legal system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that everyone has the right to an attorney. So the Victoria Police set up the Piranha Task Force, and they were basically told that they had almost unlimited scope in terms of what they could do to get to stop this underworld stuff from happening, and also to get all of those drugs off the street. Like it is, again, as we go through, we'll get to a little bit more about that sort of stuff. But it's, I think, I just wonder, does the end justify the means? And I'm not saying yes or no. I just think that's something people need to consider.
It's a huge question in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
there
okay?
an answer to that?
Yeah, I actually don't know. Maybe as we talk this through, I don't know whether we'll get to something. But
you sit there sort of like, okay, lawyer-client privilege was she was representing some of these people directly or advising them, which is a different thing. You can advise someone, not be their lawyer, but if you are representing them, as in you are literally going to court and speaking on their behalf, her take of whether or not there was client privilege there, I find a bit murky, in that the understanding of the layman who comes to a lawyer says, right, you're my lawyer, is that whatever I tell you is between us and doesn't go any further. And I think that is a fair assumption of someone who is speaking to their lawyer. Whereas she was kind of like trying to cherry pick here in terms of what was and wasn't client privilege.
Yeah.
So she would basically state that if someone had come to her about that a murder had occurred and they're being charged with that anything they discussed about that murder they were charged with was client lawyer privilege. Mm-hmm. But if in the meantime of telling them about this murder, a story would come up of like Joe Blow down the street, because he's got an ecstasy ring and he's running that out of XYZ, house down that street, that was not client privilege, and that was the stuff that she was sharing with the police. But I don't think that's actually what was happening. I think that it's clearly, we'll get to it, but there's links to things of like her clients directly. But I still even find that should still be lawyer-client privilege.
Yeah.
Because you're telling the story and somehow this person's relevant or whatever within the story of that. Therefore, it's connected.
Whenever she's challenged on that, though, she's staunch about it. She's like, no, they were not my client. That is not a breach.
Yeah.
And I guess, and look, even the Supreme Court Justice has said, absolutely, this is not, she didn't break the law in some of those instances.
Yep.
And she didn't break privilege, but she certainly acted unethically. So, yeah, again, we can talk further to that.
Yeah.
I think, so she started as a criminal defence lawyer in the early 1990s. And she, like, when we're talking about these underworld figures, we're talking Tony Mockbell, Carl Williams, Farouk Orman.
Yes.
And, countless others. All the little cronies who kind of fell underneath them, and she'd go and act on their behalf in terms of bail applications, or sometimes she would actually tell them the wrong thing in order to protect these bigger players.
Yes.
So she certainly wasn't the most ethical of representation.
I'd
for
almost
everyone.
call her the real estate agent of lawyers. She was playing both sides,
Yes.
which is just, that's what's so wrong about this.
Yeah. Over the time of the Gangland Wars, which was 1998 till 2006 in Melbourne, 30 people directly have been attributed to being killed as part of that, but I think it's actually untold in terms of the amount of people
just
who
in terms of the
died.
drugs that were being pumped out and like what the effects of that within Melbourne and beyond. There's certainly other people who are affected by this for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should we just touch on what happened prior to her becoming a lawyer even?
Yeah, sure.
So in 1993, at this stage, so she's still studying her law degree, and she'd bought a house because her dad had passed away by this point and left her a considerable amount of money. So she had bought a house that she was living in, but to help pay the bills and things like that, she brought her boyfriend in to live and be in housemate, but also her boyfriend. And
I think he started as a housemate, ended up
became
as a
the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one day in 1993, the house was raided by the police. And what was found was amphetamines, marijuana, there were weapons found, and these belonged to, well, the story goes, they belonged to her boyfriend, Brian Wilson.
Yep.
And another person as well who was linked to this Brian. So they were charged with drug possession. Now, because she was the owner of the house, she was also charged with that, because no matter what, these things were being possessed in her house. So therefore she has to be charged. But at the time, she gave evidence against her boyfriend and this other person, which meant that she got, instead of being convicted of this, she wasn't charged basically because of the evidence she gave. Now, according to her, it was because a couple of years later, again, something else happened that she also gave police evidence on that she was linked to. Now, according to her, she had no knowledge of this aspect of it, but at this time, because she was informing with these two cases, they had made her they had officially made her an informant, which means that basically there is a file that only certain police officers are aware of, so because it is meant to be as confidential as possible who are these people. And so there were these files from about 93 through to about 95, 96 saying that she was an informant. Now, later on when we get to what goes on with Lawyer X, this information comes out. And according to her, that is the first she knows that she has been named as an informant.
Victoria Police say that if it's not in the interest of what they're investigating, legally they don't actually have to tell a person that they are an informant.
Right. Because I would have thought you'd have to sign off on that.
No.
No. Okay. Yeah, right.
It's then incumbent upon Victoria Police to ensure that measures are taken to ensure her safety if that is something that she's subscribed to. But if it's not in the interest of justice, they actually don't have to inform the informant that they are officially on the books.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So she was given a number at this point as well and all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
Now, what is an informant is, generally speaking, they are also a criminal.
Yes.
It is it was fairly unheard of that someone is an informant who is not a criminal, because they need basically, these informants are basically people who can say, I'll give you this information if you overlook what I'm doing over here.
Or if I get a lesser sentence or because I'm, whatever.
Yeah. So if I'm going to give you this information, like, you're going to have to help me out, later on. So if someone who's not a criminal, they don't have that, that incentive to do that. So why would someone who has all this knowledge but no take in the game, like, kind of thing, what do they need to be informing for, I guess? That would generally just be a witness.
Exactly. But then, it's very interesting because I think there's a perception out there and look, from what I can gather, I think this is true. I obviously don't know Nicola Gobbo. I've never met her, but I think she very much likes to be the centre of attention.
That's very much what's been said, yeah.
So maybe that's why, because it gave her, I don't know, a little bit of, I don't know. It made her important in the centre of, these particular, I mean, these were not great big charges.
No.
Not compared to what comes later.
What comes later. This is sort of like a first dabble in it, kind of thing. Yeah. I just find it interesting that, I mean, for someone who's then so involved in this, later on, to know that there was a history of this prior, you kind of go, well, that speaks to the fact that you've done this before. Don't say you don't know how this works. Like,
Yeah.
So she clearly knew what she was doing, I believe.
She was sort of setting herself up there.
Yeah.
Just really quickly as well, I think she says that the impact of her father's death. So it's actually really sad. Her mum was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma when she was, I think, 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
She then survived that, beat it. Apparently, Nicola would say that, she could hear her mum vomiting and, really unwell, but she'd still work overnight shift. I think she was a nurse and would still work through all of that. And it was really, really difficult. And then I think it was only about 5 years later, her dad was diagnosed with the exact same condition, but he died from it. She was only 14 when he died.
Yeah.
And they had an incredibly close relationship. So I think, there's something to play there too in terms of like seeking approval from people, and especially from men. Like, I just feel like it's worth having that in the back of our minds as we think about this.
Yeah.
Such a formative time to lose your dad.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
I really feel for her and her siblings in that. And her mum. Her mum's then left with 5 kids. She's been through some very serious health issues. Her husband's then succumbed to the same disease that she had. Yeah. It's just...
That's crazy. They both end up with that. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely like a trait here with her where, you don't do things by halves. Like, if you're going to do something, she's going to be the best at it.
Yeah.
Kind of attitude. So, whether it was being a lawyer, she was going to be the best at that. Whether it was being an informant, she wanted to be the best at it. Like, so, there's a lot there to say in terms of a personality trait. I think
seeking
of
that approval.
That approval all comes into that, doesn't it? Of like that fact that, if I'm seen to be the best at it, I'm doing what I told my dad I was going to do. Like I'm meeting his expectations and things. So, or even better, going above and beyond that. So, she was definitely looking for that all the time, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh wow.
I guess around this time, so she's practicing law. She ended up getting her first job as a lawyer at her mentor's law firm. So that was Alex Leuenberg, I think his name was or is. And he says that, so he thought the light shone out of her. He thought she was so intelligent, so articulate. As I said before, he was the one who pushed her to sit the bar really early into her career, which was almost unheard of for a woman. And he thought she was wonderful until she started practicing at his firm, and he felt like once she was kind of let go a bit, so she was no longer a graduate, she was kind of taking on her own clients, that she was getting really close to her clients. She was socializing with them outside of work. So this sort of pattern of behavior is starting to establish.
Yeah.
She also was seen having like interacting with police. Now, as a criminal lawyer, that's an absolute conflict.
Yeah.
You know, but she would do it. And even though he would say to her, you can't do that, you know, don't be seen out with cops. Like,
You need
that's
to have
not
a
what you
relationship
do.
with these people in terms of a work relationship, like that you can go to certain people and get information, you know, make sure you're getting everything turned over to you as, you know, for legally what you need. But beyond that, like, you know, going to the pub with them or having, you know, other relationships.
Yeah.
That's,
More intimate relationships.
Yeah.
But the same was said with her clients. Like, and I'm talking, this is pre sort of gangland stuff. She would go out for dinner with them. And I'm not talking a client dinner. I'm talking like a friendship or more kind of dinner.
But again, isn't that like more approval from people too that she's seeking out there, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah, being liked by everyone.
Yeah. The things that, you know, there's stories that come from clients and police officers at around this time, or definitely sort of once we're getting into the gangland time, that Nicola was known as a bit of a party girl. You know, she was always up for fun. She was always, I heard some quote that said, you know, she always had her tits out and her bum ready to go, or, you know, something like that. Like, she was always very out there.
But she claims she has never taken drugs.
That's what she says.
She claims that.
She says that.
But a lot of other people say otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, so actually, I've got the exact quote about the. Actually, this quote came directly from Paul Dale. We can talk about him in
we
a
got to talk about him.
second.
Yeah.
He said she was extroverted, long blonde hair, low cut top, big breasts, very short miniskirts, loud, always wanted to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think that's very, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul Dale. Now, we need to do a case on Paul Dale as well.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by him.
Me too.
And I don't know what I think.
Yeah. I think it warrants further a look into by us. But I certainly have an immediate thing, I think, but I don't know a lot about it in order to like fully go out there and state it, I don't think.
Yeah, right.
But he and so he's was a Victoria police detective who got very, very close to Nicola during this time because she was just really good company. They ended up having a sexual relationship. Nicola says they had sex multiple times. Paul Dale says they had sex twice. Who knows? As we said before.
He was married with kids.
Yeah.
Like
so it's in his best interest to maybe
downplay
it. Yeah. So
he was very senior.
Very much so.
Yeah, so he was quite high up at the time of leading the drug squad, and so for them to be having a relationship, you know, between a criminal lawyer and the head of like the drug squad, very interesting.
We can go into the details of that when we cover the
We'll
Paul
look
Dale
at him,
case. I think because there is so much there.
Yeah,
and it's such a convoluted story. Basically, so we're sort of now early career for Nicola, and she starts to make a bit of a name for herself in the underworld. Now, a lot of this is because of the law firm that she was a part of. They definitely defended these bigger criminals. But, as I said, Mr. Leuenberg, her mentor and then employer, he didn't like her fraternizing with the clients and with the police. So he actually got rid of her, or they parted ways.
Yeah, right.
And she ended up practicing separately. But she'd already at this point made a bit of a name for herself, and clients like Tony Mockbell and Carl Williams started to use her more and more to the point where she became their lawyer, their top lawyer. I'm sure they had multiple because they needed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, she says she was really good at unraveling police briefs and pointing out the weaknesses. Again, we said that earlier on.
Yeah.
Any high profile or high level drug trafficking charge, that was brought upon anyone in Melbourne at the time either had Nicola Gobbo's phone number or knew how to get it.
Yeah.
And so she was like that point go-to person.
And she worked like 24/7.
Yeah.
She was constantly contactable. Like she really did work her ass off for these people. There's no question in that. She put in every bit. But it was like, who was she working for at the time? Like, was she working all those hours supporting her client, or was she working all those hours and finding stuff out and then feeding it to cops, or or the other way around? You know, like
not yet at this point.
Not at this point, but
not
yeah,
at this point.
Yeah.
She got Tony. So Tony Mockbell really was her first big notorious client.
Yeah.
And she was able to get him bail after 2 failed attempts by other lawyers. So that for him was like, right, she's it. She got me bail forever. I shall be using her forevermore. Well, Tony.
Yes.
The Crown prosecutor, Jeff Horgan QC, handled most of Victoria Police's criminal trials during that time. And as we said, there were 30 murders that took place during the criminal underworld.
Yeah.
Or during the gangland wars. And he often, obviously, crossed paths with Nicola Gobbo. And he said she was incredibly annoying, like really antagonistic of him.
Yeah.
And of I guess, anyone coming up against her or her client.
Yep.
And say she'd be contesting an application for a DNA sample or something like that, she would just literally not give up. She'd talk over people. It was like she had this way of going about it and she'd found her success in doing that, because
I wonder if it's a tactic in terms of like putting that other person off of their game by her being overbearing. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
So he's another one who is quoted as saying she needs to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
And so he just saw this as like courtroom theatrics, really.
Yeah.
And
but it worked.
It worked. I mean, she obviously had good legal argument in there, otherwise it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you'd hope.
Yeah.
Surely judges would see through theatrics.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're not talking like with a lot of these things. I mean, a lot of the time they'll either bail applications or they were, pleading guilty and then working out sentences and things like that. And so it's not like she was like in front of juries. It was judges majority of the time, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, often, certainly.
Yeah.
Should we talk about how she was recruited as a police informant?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I think this happened in 2005. So the second time. I know in 1993, 1995, she was, unbeknownst to her, an informant, even though she was informing. She didn't know she was officially an informant. But in 2005, it became established. She was known as Informant 3838. And this was unprecedented in that they'd never had a lawyer.
Oh, I don't think anywhere in the world. Like, we're talking, this is just not what is done. Ethically, many people have looked at this over and over again of like legally, I guess it's not illegal, but it is. It's not ethical.
No. But the way, this is where I kind of like, in some ways I'm like, okay, you've made your bed, lie in it.
Yeah.
And then in other ways I'm like, well, I don't know what, I don't know. But basically, she says she got to a point where she was, as you said, she was basically working 24 hours a day. She was on call. She couldn't not answer the phone to these guys because they would then threaten her. And obviously had the goods. She knew they had the goods to follow through with their threats.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the thing I'd be shit scared of working with them.
My God. Like,
they don't care about your life.
No, what a stressful situation to be in.
Yeah.
So, but she got to a point where she knew a lot. She knew a lot of things that had gone on, and it was very, very stressful. And it got to the point where she was like, I want out, but I don't know how to get out. I can't get out of this.
Yeah.
And so she'd actually was appearing at a bail hearing, I think, for Mockbell on this particular day.
I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
And for some reason, the court case was adjourned. Ended up not being heard that day, which I've heard on the grapevine or in certain reporting that the reason for that was deliberate. and it was to kind of hook her in.
Right.
Whether or not, I don't know, because I haven't heard that in all of the places that I've
This
researched.
is the thing, because certain people say something else, and yeah, it's hard.
But anyway, let's just, for whatever reason, court case was adjourned to another day, and so she didn't need to be in court that day. But she happened to bump into some cops that she knew, and she basically just let it all out and broke down, essentially. She was so incredibly stressed at this time that she felt like she needed a way out and didn't know how to do it. These cops then put her in touch with this particular handler, a couple. Well, she ended up having 4 handlers in the end, but 2 handlers were her main handlers, I guess. Put them in contact with her because they're like, oh, well, if she's willing to tell us this, how far is she actually willing to go?
Yeah, because they were desperate to, as we said, to stop these gangland.
Well, we're talking 2005, 2006. This is at the end of the gangland war. Things were escalating. This is after Lewis Moran died, I think, and was killed.
Yeah.
And he was like, the way he was executed was horrific. Just thinking of all of the people who had to witness that.
Oh, yeah.
The innocent people who had to witness that. And
it was so brazen by that point. It was just...
That's right. And so things were escalating. Yeah. Mockbell was bringing in 100 kilos of MDMA at a time at this point. The amount of drugs on the streets was insane.
He was making like $15 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy amounts of money and crazy amounts of drugs that were just out on the street. So, yes, they were under a lot of pressure to put this to bed.
Yeah, so if someone was going to give them some information, and I can see that from the Victorian Police point of view.
Me too.
Of like, if we've got to do something here, and this is handed to them basically on a silver platter of like, we've got someone who's got serious connection to all this and very much knows their stuff.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you then go, hey, we want to sit down with this person?
That's right.
But it's a lawyer.
So, yeah, there is a conflict there. It's tough. It's really, really tough. Anyway, so her police handler was Sergeant Stephen Fitzpatrick, and he basically is the one who coordinated her recruitment, passed her off to the handlers, and I think, look, there were other motivations for her as well, because not only did she want the safety and the protection, which I don't even know how Victoria Police could do that given the types of people she was involved with.
No. I mean, at one stage her car was
firebombed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. I think she has said this. Like, no one can protect me. Like, I'm out here on my own, basically. Like, there's no real genuine protection, because if the cops gave her real protection, they'd know that she was speaking to them. So... I don't know.
But then there's other things that she talks about when she first met her handlers.
Yeah.
They organised a meeting, and obviously it had to be very secret. If she was seen to be meeting with police, then that would have been horrible for everyone involved, especially for Nicola. So they said to her, you've got to go here, get this car, drive it to here, get in this car, and they set up this really elaborate scheme, and then the end point ended up being an apartment across the road from Tony Mockbell's penthouse.
See, this is where I kind of go, did the police want to put her in it?
That's what I think. I'm like, surely they knew all of his residences. I don't believe it was his primary residence, but they would have known.
Yeah. Oh,
so
God, yeah.
Why are we why the charade? And
the thing is, she was communicating with cops. They knew that she knew cops. They knew she was sleeping with Paul Dale. Yeah. So, I mean, it wouldn't have been unheard of for her to be standing around talking to cops anyway.
But then, I don't know. If she was seen talking to members of the Piranha Task Force, that would be sus.
Well, she was taking information from them back to the crooks too. So it went both ways.
But she wasn't saying that she had direct communication.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so complicated and so messy.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've spoken about her meeting up with, at a building adjacent, basically, to Tony Mockbell's apartment.
Yeah.
She said one of her handlers, who she was trusting with her life, assured that first meeting wasn't being recorded. Mm-hmm. It was. It has since come out that that meeting was recorded. You can hear the tapes.
Yeah.
So if you guys want a real deep dive into Nicola Gobbo, listen to season 2 of the ABC Trace podcast with Rachel Brown. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And in it, you can hear recordings of that first meeting of Nicola with her 2 police handlers.
So that's where, like, it gets
So where's the trust?
Yeah, this is it. I mean, you come to the end of all of this, and yeah, there's like who did what to who is so like, and who was in the right. It's so murky.
She says in that first recorded that she didn't know was being recorded.
Yeah.
Meeting with them, she says, "I'm here because I've had enough and I don't know the way out. I'm nearly 33. What have I done with my life?" Oh, by the way, yeah, just before this as well, she had a stroke.
Oh, yes.
So
we sort of a bit of a build-up of this.
About that.
Yeah, I mean, that was due to stress and things. She claims that, that it was all so bad for her that she had this stroke. But
mate, that was a way out. Like, she was already at that point. She was so stressed. She was working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. She said she used to leave her home at 6:30 in the morning. She wouldn't be home sometimes till 1 o'clock in the morning again.
And potentially taking a whole lot of drugs.
Mm-hmm. And God only knows what else. Like, as in who's she meeting with? And because she was, playing both sides in some ways before this even, it would have been so stressful. Like, who do you know who you've told what to? Like, it would be a lot to keep track of.
Incredibly stressful, but she kind of chose.
You make your bed? Like, I get that too, but then I also feel for her because she kind of, I don't know, I feel like she almost got herself involved in this not knowing what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah.
Or how in it she was going to get.
Yes.
So she had a stroke. I think that should have been the point where she was like, "Sorry, guys, I'm actually not going to practice law anymore. This is too stressful. I need out. I'm done."
But see, that's where that little bit of narcissism kicks in. Of like, that
she still wanted to be in the center of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy.
I just think, if you had have just taken that as a sign to be like, okay, this is enough now. My body's obviously not coping with this.
Yeah.
I need to move on now. None of this. We wouldn't be talking about this right now.
Absolutely.
She says, "I'm nearly 33 and what have I done with my life? I've had a stroke. I get up at 6 o'clock. I go to work by 7, spend all day working. Very rarely do I go anywhere or do anything. For what? I know that if I was married or if I had some other particular reason to race home every night, I would. But at the rate I'm going, I'm going to end up dead." They offered her, this conversation, they then offered her a cup of tea and she's like, "I'm going to need a couple of bottles of red wine." So she's obviously self-medicating otherwise as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Which I kind of also get. Like,
yes.
You'd need something, I guess.
To calm the nerves.
But the only friends she had were either criminals or police officers.
Yep.
Like...
Yeah, she didn't mingle out of that circle then. It was 100% her life.
Yeah.
And that's where, I mean, any other lawyer would be like, that's not how you operate. Like her mentor previously, it's like, that is not how this works. You have your life and you come to work and you do your job and then you go home to your life. Like, otherwise, you're going to get yourself into trouble. And that's what has happened to her.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, this is the other thing, right? So she was so involved in her clients' lives that she made a speech at Carl Williams' daughter's christening, Dakota. Yeah. Dakota Williams' christening. She's there in that pink dress, which I think is infamous. Everyone probably, when I feel like when you think of Nicola Gobbo, that's the picture. You think of.
Well, because either side of her in that photo is Benji Veneman and Carl Williams. Yeah. I mean... And she's in that photo with their arms are around each other and their big beaming smile, and she is one of them in that photo. And this is the thing, like, she's placing herself with the criminals in that, like, that. Oh, it just blows my mind. I just really can't get my head around that if you're a criminal defense lawyer, that you would then be socializing in that kind of an aspect, that it could be taken by police that you are actually a criminal with them.
Well, that's what Victoria Police say.
And because
they had that impression of her because
she can lose her
of
license for, and not be able to practice if that's the case. If they could link her in some way to being connected to any of the drugs that were being imported and stuff like that, or any of the killings that were happening, or anything else that was going on around them, she'd lose her license. Mm-hmm. But that didn't seem to be a concern for her, I don't reckon. Like, she seemed to think she had it
It was a bit above
pretty
it
sewed
all.
up.
Or, yeah, okay.
because she had so many cops in her back pocket too.
Oh, I know. Yeah, she was absolutely playing both sides, like even before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so when she was informing, I think this goes to her state of mind as well, but she would ring her handlers. So she had two handlers. They both had pseudonyms. One was Sandy White and the other one was Officer Fox. They would take a minimum of 10 phone calls from her a day
Oh, wow.
with information. So she'd hear something, she'd call them.
Yeah.
So she became as dependent on them as her clients were on her.
Well, she claims that she informed on 350 different people.
It's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Because in the time, so I think she was only by the time this all kind of came to an end and came out, maybe a year and a half, something like that.
God.
5,000 written, it was 4 years in total, sorry.
Right.
But 5,000 written reports by Victoria Police referencing her, so Informant 3838, 5,000 reports were submitted in that 4 years.
Insane. Yeah, actually, on that of how long it went on for, supposedly officially it ended in 2009.
Yeah.
But there is record of her informing up until 2012.
Yeah. There's reports
Yeah.
of information that she'd given even up to 2015, but that was from information she'd given previously.
Yeah, yeah.
Her information helped Victoria Police make over 400 arrests.
Wow.
So it wasn't all for nothing. Do you know what
No,
I mean?
and
I
that's
think
exactly-
I think a lot of the good that came out of this gets lost
Yes.
in the shit because the shit's more exciting.
Oh, and this is it. I mean, it's not like, and we say there's, that many people, that many convictions over this, which, yeah, there's good of that because it did end the gangland war. You know, like it did bring that to an end.
Yep.
But did it do it legally? And that's
okay, did it do it legally? Whatever. Look, I mean, that's not whatever. I shouldn't say that. That is a consideration.
Yeah.
But it had to come to an end.
This is it, and that's where the police, like Victoria Police, stand on that. In that, absolutely.
And again, we ask:
it is
does the end justify the means?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hill they're willing to die on. Basically, they're like literally like, but this ended what was going on. So even if you don't agree with us doing it, it got to the end that everyone in Melbourne wanted.
Absolutely.
And I do understand where they're coming from. But still, these are, even though they're criminals, they still have rights.
Yeah.
And so they still have the right to legal representation that they can trust.
Yeah.
And so that's where I just kind of go, oh, you've still got to do this the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Because there's a number of convictions that have had to be looked at.
Yeah.
And have gone back to court, and not to say like every single one that has ever been convicted it has been done illegally. There's definitely ones that she was informing on, as we were saying, that they can say that she actually had no contact with that person. They were not her client. So she found out things, at a party, not acting as a lawyer, and was able to share that information completely out of her role as their representative, as a lawyer. So there's certainly many of these that will never get looked at again. But there's a lot of cases that did have to be looked at again to ensure that there was no illegal action happen in terms of her playing both sides. Because it's illegal for her to have given out that information. I mean, and it's affected big cases too. Yeah. So particularly as we talked about, Tony Mockbell, I think there was like 3 main charges on him. Yeah. And 2 of those have been quashed. Yeah,
so 2 of his convictions have been completely overturned. A third... So
it's still being played out, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So there is a retrial into the Orbital case, as it was called, and that was for importing a commercial quantity of MDMA.
Yeah.
This is when he was importing like 800
That's not
kilos.
the tomato ecstasy one, is it?
No, that's a different one.
It's a different one?
That was 800,000 euros, 100 kilos of MDMA. I don't think that was the tomato one.
No, the tomato one was much bigger than that. Yeah, that was the ecstasy pills.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's going through a retrial at the moment. But
in the retrial, though, obviously anything that Nicola Gobbo informed can't be used. So
But the reason that this has gone to retrial is because they think they've got enough other evidence outside of that to get a conviction.
God,
so
it'd be tricky to
basically,
get around, though.
I think Tony Mockbell was sentenced to something like, off the top of my head, I think it was like 38 years in prison or something. Or no, it was 40 years in prison, and then that got downgraded to 33 years. He got some time off for something.
Yeah.
He may now walk free. Like, he's been in prison, I mean, since 2012, I think it was, or something like that. Was it?
Oh, can't remember when he was arrested now.
Anyway, whatever. He's been in
back to
prison for a
Australia?
long time. I think he's
Yeah.
served over 2,000 days or something like
Okay.
that. But he could essentially walk free now. Like, so, okay, yes, we've got 400 other convictions. Great. How many of those are then going to appeal now because Nicola Gobbo was involved?
Yeah.
And
Well, we've
then-
got Farouk Oman
Yep.
as one. I mean, his was overturned as well.
Yep.
So he was a guy who was involved in someone else we've talked about here, Victor Pearce.
Yep.
Supposedly, what happened with that one was that Nicola Gobbo informed, basically saying that he was the driver of the car. Benji Veneman was the person who shot Victor
Yeah.
Pearce, but was saying that Farouk was the driver. And we talked about all that in our
Yeah.
episode back when we talked about Pentacles.
Yep.
But but it turns out, well, according to Farouk, it wasn't him. He was not in that car. He was not the driver. It was just convenient for Nicola to say that it was him
Yep.
at the time. And and that's been overturned. So, I mean, he wasn't wrong in that. So with that being quashed, so there's one that's done. I mean, he did other things. I mean, he
that's
deserved to
right.
be in jail, but maybe not for that particular one. Like,
I mean, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just from a handler's perspective, they have an obligation to ensure the safety of their informants, right?
Yeah.
Her main handler, Sandy White, was becoming increasingly concerned about Nicola. He basically said that she had no life outside of what she was doing.
Yeah.
So the only people with a moral compass she spoke to were me and the other officer.
Did they have a moral compass?
I think those guys, I mean, notwithstanding what they were asking Nicola to do.
I was going to say, because Ron Iddles would disagree, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. Again, it's ethically very grey.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because I get on one hand they wanted the outcome to be what it ended up being, but then how they got there, I get it. Like it is, it's, does the end justify the means? So basically Sandy White was saying that he was becoming increasingly concerned about her. She lost 49 kilos. She wasn't eating. She wasn't looking after herself. She'd had this stroke, like major health issues, and she'd lost all of this weight. She was just a nervous
That's a lot
wreck.
of weight to lose.
It's a lot. And she wasn't doing anything.
No.
This was just as a
purely on
consequence of the
stress.
stress. Like imagine the state of her body at the time.
Yeah.
So he basically said to her, I'll refer you to a police psychologist.
Yep.
That police psychologist was reporting back to Sandy White and Officer Fox.
He was informing on her on this.
Yes.
Oh, God. I was
And
like,
so-
that's ethically not.
It's not okay. It's not okay. And Nicola said she thought that there would be that was
would
a
be
privileged conversation.
Yes.
It's like, well,
Whoa, it's such a dirty world.
so dirty, so dirty.
God.
She couldn't sleep. She was grinding her teeth. She just had so much going on.
Yeah.
And it was showing itself physically.
Yes.
Like, obviously, mentally, it would have been an
Yeah.
absolute mind fuck. But then
Because she had a second stroke?
she did. She did.
That was towards the end of all this, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
But again, it didn't really stop anything, did
No.
it? Yep. So the police psychologist said she was clinically depressed and potentially suicidal. Nicola admits that on 2 occasions she was absolutely suicidal, and if she had the means to go through with it, she would have.
Yeah, right.
I mean, oh my gosh, I can't imagine being in that state, but then I can also see, like, she obviously felt like she was in it so deep.
Yeah.
that she saw no other way out.
Yeah, for sure.
I get how she would have gotten to that point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the pressure that she'd be under from both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, this is where it gets so messy that, as we say, she was literally informing to the police with this stuff officially, and that was all documented. But there was stuff that she was taking to the Crims. For example, she said to Tony Mockbell, "You're going to get charged with 2 counts of murder." So what does he do? Flee.
Oh, I love this.
Disappears off to Bonnie Doon first.
Oh, Bonnie Doon for a year.
We're going to Bonnie Doon.
God, that is such a good movie.
Oh, so good. I missed
Did you
the
know
castle.
it's rated R?
Why?
Yeah, I don't know because I'm like,
He
I've
says,
got to show the
I've
kids.
cleared fucking trade of 3 before.
Maybe.
Is that it?
I
Because
don't
that'd be like
know.
the only thing.
I don't know, but I'm like, my kids are watching that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I keep meaning to put that on. We're actually putting it on the list. It's got to get done.
It's got to get done.
Yep.
Absolute Aussie classic.
Yeah. And then he orchestrates this whole thing of like getting out of the country because, it's pressure's being put on of where is he? It actually thought he'd already fled the country at that point, but he was actually just hiding out in Bonnie Doon, which I thought was pretty smart actually.
Yeah.
But the whole thing of him like getting out of Australia and how he did that is we'll get into it another day because it's very fun.
Yeah. But anyway, he ends up in Greece.
He ends up in Greece, yeah.
And he's hiding out there. He's got himself a wig, had a
Yeah,
bit of plastic surgery to change the way he looks.
Yeah,
The wig.
Yeah, the wig's great.
Just love it.
Photos. Oh, that was the front page of the newspaper at that point in time was just gold.
Gold.
I love
Absolute
that.
Gold.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the end, the AFP and Victoria Police ended up finding him and bringing him back.
But I mean, that was Nicola Gobbo.
Yeah.
That triggered all of that. I mean, the amount of money that the Victorian Police paid to get Tony Mockbell back here and to find him, all those things. If you think about it, that's all on Nicola Gobbo. But yet she was informing to the police and they were making arrests and convicting crims as well based on her information, but it was equally going the other way. So it just does my head in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
And they're the ones we know about.
They're the one, and there's so much we don't know about. Although there was a royal commission into the management of police informants.
Yes.
In 2018.
Yeah.
And I know this is kind of getting a little bit ahead, but a lot came out in that, especially in relation to Nicola Gobbo and this entire Lawyer X Informant 3838 situation.
Yeah.
She went so far as to wear wires when she was having conversations with certain people, even Paul Dale, somebody who she'd slept with.
That was one where that was a real cross of the line in terms of that was actually officially she was going to be a witness in that.
Yeah.
She wasn't an informant for that. And that was where it became very grey because that's where, publicly it would be known that there was a lawyer who had gone into that conversation wired up.
Yeah.
And she wasn't his lawyer at the time, but she could advise him in that conversation as a lawyer, and therefore it's crossing those lines
again.
And the public would get knowledge of that. So she really was like, I don't want to do this, I can't do this. Because there was stuff in that conversation that he never really, and this I mean, you can literally listen to the tape of it, that I can get both perspectives on he's very careful in how he says things because but the cops were like, we've got him, but then Nicola Gobbo is literally advising the police saying no, because if I was his lawyer I'd be like,
I'd say this,
and therefore he won't get any conviction on it. So
that was in relation to the Terence Hodson
murder. Yeah, which is very interesting.
Very interesting. So when we do the Paul Dale case, we'll probably do it with the Terence.
Yeah, well, that'll come into it there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's a very, very interesting case.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's at the end of all this, and pretty much when she gets this point with Paul Dale where she's wired up to talk to him, that's where she goes, oh, no, I'm not doing this. So we kind of get to this point now where the public, and there are more people that are knowing, kind of putting it together of who she is, and that she is Lawyer X. Well, she wasn't named that, it's still within the legal system. We're kind of going, hang on a minute, is she an informer? Because too many people started putting it together.
Yeah.
So the police did back away from using her entirely, but it meant that she was still under a lot of pressure that criminals were also working this out. So Carl Williams, actually, I mean, as much as people think he was stupid, That was a total game on his part. He was not stupid. He knew that she was informing. He called it a long time before anyone else did. So she knew that she was in a bit of shit, and that because Carl Williams, by any means, he would just get rid of her.
On a
Even
whim.
though she gave a speech at his daughter's christening, he would absolutely get rid of her if she was
because
problem.
in his mind she's double-crossed him.
Absolutely, yeah. So he was all over it, and she knew it, and it really did put her in a position. So she basically she did sue the police at a point too, that she hadn't been handled properly as an informer, and I think she got 2.3 million out of that.
Yes, she did.
She refused to go into witness protection, which they did offer her. I mean, you're not allowed to ask her if she's in witness protection, obviously, but she has adamantly said she's not in witness protection, and has never been in witness protection. We don't know. It's not for anyone else to know of what's gone on there. But according to the police and to her, like, she's been offered witness protection, but she says she's refused that and is not. So she was offered a way in terms of being able to stay out of harm's way, I guess, which she hasn't taken, which I just find that interesting. If you really thought you were in danger, wouldn't you take that option? I don't know.
Especially because at that point she didn't have children.
Well, yeah, that's at that point, yeah. It's interesting what's happened with that since, I think, with children in the
mix. It's
as well.
really, really complicated things.
Yeah.
So she then went on to meet the man who would become the father of her children. Now,
Richard Barco.
Yeah, we don't know a huge amount about him really. We believe he has had some convictions of his own and potentially spent some time in prison.
Yeah, I don't know how much time, but and it was drug related.
Yeah,
but
we don't know real specifics of it, which is fine because that's something completely separate to this. But they did have 2 children in very quick succession, first a daughter and then a son. And around this time is when Nicola, like, all of this sort of Lawyer X stuff started coming out. So as you were saying, people knew, right? People knew Nicola Gobbo was the person, that she was an informant, that she was basically double playing everyone.
Yeah.
And one of the newspapers was going to expose the story.
Yeah.
And they found out about, as in Nicola's camp, I guess, found out, or actually no, it was Victoria Police, found out about the fact that this newspaper was going to publish her name. They sought an urgent injunction, and it meant that the newspaper couldn't print her name. So they went with the Lawyer X title, which has now really stuck with her.
Yeah.
And it was years that all of this was reported as Lawyer X. And I still remember thinking, who would it be? Who could it be?
Yeah, but those in the know
knew.
They knew.
For sure.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
sure.
our good friend Ron Iddles, he famously was sent to Bali, actually, where she was hiding out during all this time, where it was sort of
she
is she
tried
being
to go on
named
a
or
holiday.
not? Yeah.
She needed a break.
Yes.
This was after the second stroke. She had the 2 children.
Yeah.
She needed a break. And Victoria Police, we can't stop her from going overseas. There's no reason we can stop her.
No.
But we kind of need eyes on her. So Ron Iddles, being, the person he was.
Well, he actually needed to go and interview her about a particular case. So there was something which was completely above board. It was something, I can't remember exactly which case it was. It wasn't a big one or by any means. It was just something that he needed some information on that she was willing to give. And so he went over there and met up with her to do this. And in talking to her, realised, put 2 and 2 together and went, fuck, you're Lawyer X. And so he actually said to her, he'd already got her statement. And this is where I just love him. His integrity is so...
Second to none. Second to none.
He said... He reckons he would 100% because he just called it out and he goes, oh, my God. He said it to her. He wasn't by any means keeping this information that he had realised. He said to her, by you signing this, you know that this is going to come out, that by what you've said, this is going to link you to everything else. I don't think you should sign it. And he actually talked her out of signing it. As in when she realised too, that she was going to be outing herself, she was hesitant then. But he reckoned if he used his skills that he has, because he has such good insight in people, he knows how to work people, he could have got her to sign it, but he was like, I'm not going to make this happen. and he walked away from being sent over there to do this job. I mean that's Victorian Police money
to get a signed
statement from her.
And he was told not to come back without a signed statement.
Yeah, he came back without it. We came back with the statement but not signed, and he went to the bigwigs. He went into like Simon Overland's office, the commissioner at the time,
yep.
and said, "You motherfuckers, she's lawyer X, and you guys are going to get screwed here. And not only that, there's going to be people who get out of jail back because of who like the fact that she's who this person is."
Yep.
He called it. I just have so much respect for him.
Oh, me too. God, he's the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's actually the best.
Yeah.
So Nicola's then come home from this holiday that wasn't really a holiday, I guess, in the end.
Yeah.
And it was actually not until all of the Hodson murder stuff came out that her name was implicated in all of this, and it was found out by everyone that Nicola Gobbo was Lawyer X.
Yeah.
Now, this put her in a really, really dangerous situation. So, of course, we know like the likes of Carl and I would imagine Tony Mockbell, people would know.
Yeah.
But nothing was done because it wasn't widely known, right? She still feared for her life. She's still...
Yeah, because at this point, Carl Williams was dead too.
Yeah, he'd already been stabbed in prison.
Which there's questions around who called that. Which again, is she linked to that? You know, like...
There are questions around
that. Around, you know, like what... How much participation does she have in this?
We don't know.
Who's pulling whose strings?
We don't really know.
We don't know.
Because there's so much cover-up and so much muddiness around all of this.
Yeah.
So she basically she has no choice really but to flee.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has been reported that she has lived in, I think, 7 different countries over the last, that was in 2016, did she leave? Anyway, whenever she left, so she's got her 2 young children with her. I believe at this point the father of her children was in prison, so she left with the 2 children. She says they are essentially stateless because wherever they're living, they're not permanent residents. They don't have any rights in those countries. You know, access to healthcare is expensive. Access to education for her children is really tricky.
Yeah,
and she's got no help. She's a single mum in a foreign country with 2 young children who are relying on her. All she wants is to return to Australia, where she's got support and help, but she wants police protection to do so. The police say that if and when she returned to Australia, that they would remove her children because in the best interest of those children, their mother was coming into this country with a target on her head and
putting them at risk.
So
which I find that really, I mean, I heard one of the things she says about that, which I find really interesting, is that, like, for example, the Morans who had children, and, you know, Jason Moran had children and he was shot at Auskick, kind of stuff that, well, why didn't they take his children away? They knew that he was, you know, kind of under the pump and potentially going to be killed.
That's what Nicola says.
That's what Nicola says, which I tend to agree with that. Like, why aren't you taking off all these crims who are likely to shoot each other and kill each other? Why are you not going around taking all their kids off them?
But if might be more convenient if she's not in the country.
I really do. I think that there's a little bit of, you know, no, we want you to stay over there, out of sight, out of mind. Because if she comes back and she does start talking...
Oh, I think for sure. I think there probably is stuff that people don't, and when I say people, I'm thinking maybe Vic Paul might not want coming out. And she's talking.
Well, she is. She has spoken to a number of journalists, but she is very careful in how she speaks. Yes. And I find it very interesting. One of the more recent interviews she's done, which is that Trace podcast, that with Rachel
Brown.
Yes, Rachel Brown. So you watch the video of that. She dresses herself very plain.
Down? Yeah.
No makeup, actually no makeup sort of stuff.
And she knew she was being filmed for 7:30. So Rachel Brown did the Trace podcast. She filmed an interview for 7:30
report. Yeah, it was.
And I think that was Four Corners also.
Was it Four Corners as
they
well?
used some of the footage in Four Corners.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Yeah, she knew she was being filmed, all those sorts of things. And I just find, like, it's the lawyer in her coming out. Like, she'd advise her client similarly, like, to dress a certain way to,
Elicit a
elicit
certain
a certain
response.
response.
Yeah.
And she certainly tries to do that in that. And I find it really obvious to be personally, I do personally.
Same.
And even the way she.
Especially because you look at the way she would dress when she was a lawyer. Like, she was always her style, her sense of style is very out there and very, like, overdone.
Yes.
Like, always
Barbie-esque,
always with the full face of makeup. Her hair's always in this, like, big sort of this big blonde mop on top of her head, and or out.
She looks dowdy. And it's like, feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
I really do think she's trying to elicit that kind of response from viewers, and particularly even how she answers certain questions. It's Rachel's very good. She's not coming at it from an angle of I'm on her side or any of that. She does really push her on things, and she's asking some pretty hard questions of her. And the way she, like, talks around and doesn't answer questions and is all like, but I don't know, like, leave me alone. And you're not that person. That is not who you are, and it's not how 95% of other people describe you. This is you're putting on something here, and that's where I just then go, I don't trust you. But I reckon she's got information that as you say, Vic Paul do not want coming out, and she knows it.
Yeah.
And she's trying to use it to her advantage, and it's not working.
No. So it's interesting. In that interview, Rachel Brown asks her, like, whether she thinks it's worth it.
Yeah.
And she says, "Look, where I am, no, it wasn't. Obviously, like, I mean, I say obviously, but then I mean,
for her personally, probably for the greater good of Melbourne, maybe it was, but."
She says she was used, abused and kicked to the curb, not just kicked to the side of the road, but run over, reverse the car back and run over again by Victoria Police.
Look, I don't disagree, but at the same time, I think she kind of made her choices.
I just don't really know what else she expected.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's
there was really no other outcome in this.
No. Exactly.
Yeah. And she's a very, very intelligent woman.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's Vic Paul people who also say, like, if criminals wanted her dead, she'd be dead.
Yeah.
And she's not.
Yeah. Why?
Maybe they don't really care.
Or maybe they know that she's got stuff that can help them as well. I don't know. I don't know. So, as I said before, there was a royal commission into the management of police informants after this, because obviously this was an incredibly ethically grey area and it needed to be looked into. The commission was first established in 2018 and it was led by Commissioner Margaret McMurdo. So they looked into, like, how she became an informant, which convictions were compromised, and I believe there were like 1,000 cases that she was involved with, and they determined that about 300 of those cases could potentially be impacted.
God.
They looked into the failures in Victoria Police's oversight and the legal disclosure practices in terms of managing informants. Mm-hmm. They found that there were systematic failures, lack of oversight, inadequate checks, and improper use of confidential information. Mm-hmm. There were 111 recommendations made at the end of the Royal Commission. There was recommendations of legislation to be made with regard to human sources. Oversight, so they said there should have been a public interest monitor in terms of overseeing all of this stuff, so that it's not just managed by one organisation and a member essentially of the public.
Yep.
Disclosure reforms to protect those who are accused, and legal profession guidance and monitoring for the informant.
Yeah.
And that's independent legal advice. They absolutely need that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise Victoria Police can say to them, oh, yeah, we'll give you, 20 years off your sentence if you're convicted of this. There's nothing. That person who's taking that on is trusting in Victoria Police. They have no legal representation because they're not, at this point, are not allowed to.
No
one's allowed to know that they're an informant.
Yeah.
Now they're saying that those people should have independent
legal counsel. Yeah.
I don't know.
It makes it very interesting, I guess. it can make it very difficult, I think, for Victoria Police to then have people come forward.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there was very valuable information in this, but other informants, you know, that are linked to this case even, that are genuine informants, if it makes it more challenging to get those people even on board to do these things, there's many convictions that won't happen and we could end up in a total shit show, and our legal system is already enough in a shit show.
Oh, imagine if we had to retrial all of those.
Yeah.
I know Victoria Police undertook some of the recommendations, and in 2023 they enacted the Human Source Management Act. So the way that Victoria Police from 2023 onwards handles their informants has changed, and it's a much more structured. There's outlines, requirements. It's audited now,
right?
And there is greater governance over how they go about that and what they're allowed to do within the confines of that. I guess it's a lot more strict and tight in terms of what they can and can't do with an informant and the expectations of an informant. So that's a positive, I suppose, that's come out of this.
Yep.
And then I guess the legal profession, you know, there's got to be awareness around ethical boundaries and where that falls.
Yeah.
Confidentiality, and then these dueling relationships, these dueling priorities that she had. You know, it's there's a lot there.
I don't believe I personally don't think the police should have ever approached her about being an informant. I absolutely do think
they got her
wrong.
at a moment of weakness, though, didn't they? Like when she signed on, she was at the end. She was, that's well.
it. I mean, you've got to be of sound mind and to be able to make those decisions, and she wasn't.
I did hear something. Now, I don't know whether this was corroborated or not, but someone said something about Victoria Police hearing that she'd had a stroke. This was before she'd actually become an informant. Heard that she'd had a stroke and considered sending a handler in there to try and recruit her while she was recovering from the stroke. It didn't end up happening.
But even the thought of that.
The thought of it.
That's so wrong.
So wrong.
I mean, yeah, as I say, what the outcome of all this was, I mean, I'm all for the fact of like these gangland wars were stopped and like that they got results, but I don't agree with the fact that they recruited a lawyer, a criminal lawyer at that, to be informing on her clients. I
guess the big question is how would Victoria Police have maintained, and I guess Nicola Gobbo have maintained the ethical standards that are expected of both while also fighting organised crime? I don't know. I'm so keen to hear what people think.
Yeah.
I really am.
It is a real, a moral and ethical minefield.
Yeah, so please let us know. I really am curious to see what people think, like, because I can see things from both sides in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The system is at fault. Oh, actually, you know what?
Let's just make if you bad, you go jail.
Yeah. Easy done. Easy done. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bit mental, that one.
It really is.
It really is. As we said earlier, if you want to know more about this case in a lot more depth, the Trace Season 2. Season 1 is the case of Maria James, which we've done a case on as well.
I haven't done. Okay,
go back and listen to that if you want to. But Season 2 is Nicola Gobbo, Lawyer X. And then there's the 7:30 report and a Four Corners episode about this. And then there's countless other things that you can find about it as well. But if you want to hear directly from Nicola's mouth, they're the three sources to go to.
It's interesting to then hear her perspective. But yeah.
I think so.
But if you're looking for entertainment on this, there's obviously the Underbelly series of, that you can check out. And there's a 2-part mini series literally just on Lawyer X, which is actually not a bad watch. I've watched it in a while, but it's actually pretty good. It's not, there are non-factual bits thrown in and timelines a little out.
And also they've combined a couple of characters just for the sake of the story. So it's not exactly factual,
Yeah,
but it is interesting.
You get a pretty good idea though, of what went on, and in that sense.
I think it gives you a vibe of the time
definitely,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's worth a watch for sure. Like, I actually want to go back and watch all the Underbelly series now.
Oh, they're so good. I bloody love them.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to add before we finish up for today?
I think we're good.
Okay. Next week we're going to be talking about the Amy Lynn Bradley.
Yeah.
Oh, this is I
don't know a lot about this. I know a little bit about it, and I'm actually really keen to get into
Same.
researching. I've actually been putting off listening to certain things that I've like heard about things and go, oh, I want to read this or
we
listen
need
to
to
that.
do it in the
but I'm
week
like,
that
let me do it in the week when I'm actually researching. Yeah, because I'm like, oh no, I'm excited to get into that one too, because it's
Me too.
crazy.
Me too. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please go ahead and like us on the socials. That is really, really great. If you'd like to join us over on Patreon, we are actually about to record an episode that will go out. Oh, it'll probably already be out when this episode comes out. So you can do so at patreon.com/2crimebesties.
That's it. For some reason, we're not able, like when you search for it on Apple phone, we believe it's not coming up. So we'll try and get onto fixing that for some reason. If you put in that link, you will absolutely find us. It will come straight to us.
That's it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for joining us again.
Stay curious, crime besties.
Bye.